Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of Going Into Friday here on a lovely Thursday morning, I should say. Gonna do some some weekly recaps, some trades, some action, some volatility, some news reporting, and just what the hell's going on in this market. I wanted to start off real quick with the markets, and then we'll see what everyone else is watching. But bounce is still going on. A lot of news lately about the U.S. meeting with various countries like the U.K. today, and then apparently some other countries over the weekend. So exciting stuff. I would say usually the headlines make it volatile, but in the last few days it's been fairly stable in comparison to the last 2 weeks, right? Just from the range of the candles. But hopefully it's a bounce continuation just to get back to normalcy. It always feels good and it's a little bit exhausting of all the headlines and the uncertainties and etc. But I do think we see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is very good. But anyways, before we jump into some tickers from the week, how are we feeling, Huddy and Dom? What have we been seeing? What have we been trading?
Yeah, I think there's still been some really good volatility, some things that we talked about last week following up into this week that I think traders should, you know, I always say like trading stocks is not something that you can just show up randomly on a Friday and just know exactly what to do. It's kind of this like ever long progressing narrative and streamline of the happenings that like lead you to the next happening, so to speak, right? So let me make that make more sense. Last week, I believe in our video, and if you haven't watched it, you can watch these videos come out every week. We talked about KIDZ, which was the latest and greatest ticker that was taking their treasury monies and putting it into some crypto. I don't remember the exact news, but went on this massive run. And, once you kind of see that type of catalyst spark such a run, and it's not in kids, isn't even the first one we've seen. Kids is like the third one. You come into this week, and what do you know? ASST, right? Like that's a ticker I think most people should know about if you're trading small cap, if you're looking for an opportunity. This stock is on an absolute heater. Same exact news, right? They took their treasury monies, they're putting it into Bitcoin, merging with some company. Stock started out at, I don't know, gapped up to two. That was a huge gap up, and now it's at $7.80. So, as small cap traders, this is what we love to see. This is what's going to breed a bunch of patterns. This is an actionable catalyst that makes a lot of sense in terms of why it's up and history kind of being a precedent to show us that there is some type of predictive power here, although nothing's for sure, nothing's guaranteed. This is how we get some inkling of a notion that like there's possibility. And now that it's starting to extend itself up another 130% today as we're speaking, it's going to set up again for another pattern. And that's what I'm going to be waiting for. That's what I'm looking forward to towards next week. And it's been just, every week that we have at least one of these is great in my book.
Yeah, some of these movers again, and I'll tie this in with the gap and craps because that was going to be the portion of my week that's been well. I have a bad portion to start off, and then a good way to end it. Which is the bad portion was that these gap and craps have just not crapped at all because they've been so like how do you like 4 or 5 of them have been these crypto related treasury themes, and so like. Thankfully, ASST I did not short. I finally learned my lessons after losing on what was it? It was NITO, right? Lost this day, and then was it GPUS? Also lost on this day. Again, not necessarily crypto related, but just a massive squeeze from 3 to 9. Couldn't have been more wrong on the short side there. But like ASST, I took it long. Actually, if you watch Good Morning Nasdaq yesterday, I actually took it long during the stream. But it was such small size, I just didn't really care, nor did I. But I also followed my plan regardless of what size I had. It just was the wrong plan. But man, you had the right plan. Yeah, I mean, 2 to 6, 3 to 6. You don't have to time the top to 8. Like just catching the gap is the kind of moves we're seeing, which is just insanely impressive. And I know there were many people who did. Once again, it's another one that's Bitcoin related, very similar to SEP, that I have just not screwed up, but I have not captured the full opportunity. But again, you guys can be better than me because it's out there. It's 8. And again, who knows? By the time this video is released, who knows how high this goes? This could be it, or this could go to 12. I have no idea. But it's insane what's out there. The other thing I want to mention about my trades closing into the week or into the rest of the week is like so shorts for me on Gabba Caps have not been great. They've done the opposite. They've gone squeezing. But where I have gone to the long side and have made it hopefully all my losses back. I got to knock on wood here because I'm not entirely out. But this pony breakout here from mid 11s, I am still long 60% of my size, and it is holding fairly well. It could obviously fail. It certainly looked that way in the morning. So this comeback was actually quite a surprise to me today. But yeah, let's say hypothetically this keeps going and I'm able to sell 17s, 18s, 19s, like in best case, it would wipe away all of the losses from the gap and craps that I took earlier this week. So, just your typical trader story, taking losses but then making it back, because there's just if you're down in the dumps, there's opportunity every single day that could potentially recoup losses, or just give you another chance to trade well. And so that's certainly been the case for me this week.
Wonderful. Yeah, can't deny that there's been stocks in play, stocks moving, the same theme. We've talked about it. Howdy talked about it with the crypto stuff and the news and small cap plan continues to work. Didn't quite work as well this morning on one of the gappers that we saw, but the ones that are in play still moving quite nicely. Have had a decent amount of reversals still. I feel like this is like the year of the reversal because we've seen so many first green days, backside bounces in the past like 6 months. I personally have done a really poor job of trading the volatility this week across the board. I have like a 25% win rate, which is really frustrating. But you can't deny the opportunity. This is a week where I will really look back and kind of grill myself over the weekend in terms of where I made my mistakes and why. Because if you look at Monday, you have stocks like NVNI, low price stocks running big, coming on the backside, a really solid reversal day that I puked up for a small win by not sticking to my risk, but it had a really nice bounce from the 30s into the 50s. That same morning, we had ZCAR off of the same exact pattern. Big run on the front side, one red day, and then a really significant bounce from the 8s to, I think that one actually got towards like 13s. A really nice bounce on the backside. We saw it with GPUS yesterday morning, which I did trade live on the Good Morning Nasdaq stream, where we had a big run, had a red day, and then had a significant bounce from the 5s, ended up almost going back to the breakout level in the 8s. So that pattern continues to work. It's something on the long side that has been a really big saving grace, especially with how hit or miss breakouts are. You can see the GPUS breakout today failed. The CEP breakout last week worked really well. PONY that Kyle talked about, that breakout worked really well. It's got a low win rate, the breakouts do, so it's nice to supplement some of that opportunity with some reversals that happen more often, as we've had a ton of stocks run 3, 4, 500% right now.
Beautiful. I agree. Well, all right. I mean, I want to say there's much more, but we're getting efficient. That crushed it. All the opportunities out there. Again, stay tuned for Sunday night. We will probably go over a bunch of these tickers and then scan some more for what we're seeing going into next week. So stay tuned for that video. But without further ado, like and subscribe, put in the comment section of any particular opportunities that you caught or missed or learned from. And we will see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody. Bye.